Hi, it's Nørgaard. So today I'm doing a new makeup tutorial for you, and today I'm using the W7 In The Buff Lightly Toasted eyeshadow palette. This is a beautiful neutral eyeshadow palette, and this is a dupe for Urban Decay's Naked palette. So if you have the Naked palette, you can use that instead, and if you don't have the Naked palette but you want a cheaper alternative, you can check this palette out. So if you guys want to see how I did this full-faced makeup look, then here comes the tutorial. So you guys have asked me to zoom in a little bit more when I do my makeup, so I'm doing that today. I hope you guys like it. I'm going to apply Makeup Forever's Skin Equalizer Smoothing Primer all over my face. So I start here in the center and move outwards and up on the forehead. I'm also going to use the Mattifying Primer, also from Makeup Forever, and I'm just going to use it in my T-zone. So I'm applying it on the forehead and then down the nose and on the chin. So my skin prep is a little extensive today. You do not have to use this many primers at all, but I have a lot of primers and I want to use them. So I'm going to use the Gerard Cosmetics BB Plus Illumination, and I'm applying this on like highlight points. So that of course means my cheekbones. And then right up here above the arch of my brows. And finally I'm going to use the Laura Geller Spackle Undereye Primer, and I'm just priming my under eye area. So for my foundation I'm going to use the Rimmel Wake Me Up in the color Ivory. So I like to dot it all over my face. That's my own personal favorite way to do my foundation. And I applied 3 pumps of this, if you were wondering. So I'm using my Sigma F80. I'm just going to wet it with my setting spray. And I'm just going to stipple my foundation on. So I never apply any product directly to my my neck, but when I'm blending out the foundation on my cheeks and on my chin, I do just drag it down a little bit. And I can do this because I always apply more foundation on my cheeks than I do on like my forehead or my nose. Just because I have the most to cover on my cheeks. So I just slightly drag it down. And to create a full coverage look, I'm going to apply a second layer of my foundation. And again, I just go ahead and stipple it out so I get the most coverage. So my concealer today is the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Porcelain. And today I'm actually going to highlight my entire face and not just my under eye areas. So I'm going underneath my eyes, of course, and then a bit down here on the chin, and above the lips, and on the forehead, and then down the nose. So I'm using my sponge from W7, and I'm just going to use the foundation brush to help blend out the concealer. So to set my concealer, I'm going to use Ben Nye's Luxury Powder in Cameo, and I'm using my Kat Von D brush to apply this. And I'm not exactly baking, but I am doing a generous layer. So to set my foundation, I'm going to use the Covergirl Ready Set Gorgeous powder foundation in the color Fair, and I'm using my e.l.f. powder brush to apply this. So for bronzer, I'm going to use this e.l.f. pressed powder. This is in the color Honey, so it's just a face powder that's darker than my skin. It looks like this. So I'm going to use this to bronze up my face, and then up around the hairline and the temple. And then of course I also need to define my jaw. This really makes a huge difference. So you guys, I just realized today that I have had this sitting in my makeup drawer for months and months, and I have never used it. I've never even opened it. So we're going to use it today. So I'm using my NARS e.l.f. brush. This is very pigmented and it's a lot darker than my bronzer. So I'm just starting out with just a sharp line like this, and then I'm going to blend it out. And I'm using whatever is left to define my jaw even more. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and blend it out. with the same brush I used for my bronzer. And I'm trying to keep it blending upwards so that this line down here will be kind of sharp and then it will fade upwards. And now of course I'm going to contour my nose with my e.l.f. fan brush. So I'm just going to use my e.l.f. powder brush to give it a quick blend and try to make it look a little less harsh. Even though I still want a kind of strong contour, I just want to tone it down a tiny bit. So for my blush, I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Rosé Champagne blush. So I really like this neutral color blush. And normally I would apply my blush right around here. But since I'm doing more of a diagonal contour today instead of a horizontal, I'm going to apply my blush a little lower. So I'm going to apply it right here where my contour stops. So right here. And I'm going to blend it kind of back into the contour. And I do just blend it up a little bit so it's not, you know, super low on my face. So now I'm going to bake underneath my contour. I'm going to use this super dirty sponge from BH Cosmetics. Please don't use such an unclean sponge. But I'm just going to drag this powder right below the contour line. And when I get to the end here, I just sweep it towards my lips. So it doesn't just continue just straight down. So while that is baking on my face, I'm going to highlight. Today I'm going to use MAC's Mineralize Skinfinish in the color Lightscapade. It's a beautiful multi-tone highlighter, and I'm going to apply it with my fingers because that gives the most intense application. So I'm going to apply it to my nose, so right here on the tip to make that nice and shiny, and then just right down the center. And then I'm going to highlight my cheekbone, also just by applying it with my finger. And I'm just going to blend it out with my e.l.f. small tapered brush. And I'm also going to blend it out with my Kat Von D brush that I used for bronzer. And finally I'm going to blend it out using my blush brush. So I'm also going to highlight my Cupid's bow, as I always do, and blend it out. And finally I'm going to apply a little highlighter right above my brow, right here. And I'm not going to apply it with my finger because I don't want it to be super intense. I just want a little bit of glow. So now I'm going to remove my powder, my baking powder. And you can just see how clean the contour looks. So I always finish off my base makeup with a setting spray. So today I'm using the e.l.f. Illuminating Mist and Set. Okay, so I zoomed you guys all the way in so we can do the eyes and the lips together really close. By the way, let me put on my ring. Okay, so for my eyebrows I'm going to use these two brow pencils by Primark. So these are just called the PS brow pencils. So I'm going to start out with the darkest one. And of course first I'm going to brush through my eyebrows. Okay, so I'm just going to use this dark brown color in the back. And I'm going to blend it out as I go, because these brow pencils are very creamy. So I'm doing about half my brow, maybe a little bit more than half my brow with the dark pencil. So once I have the outer parts filled in, I'm going to fill in the inner parts with this light brown color. So again, I'm applying the product and blending it out as I go because it is really creamy. And now to set my brows, I'm going to use the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Plumber in the color light to medium. And this will not only set my eyebrows, it will also make them a little bit lighter since they are a little dark, even though I do like a good dark eyebrow. So that is that. I am just going to take a little Q-tip and just ever so slightly clean up my brow, just because it did get a little bit messy. And now I'm going to use Too Faced Shadow Insurance to prime my eyelids. And this just goes over the entire lid from lash line to brow bone and inner corner to outer corner. And this is just a great little transparent primer. I am going to use a colored base. And let me just lower this a bit. My colored base today is from e.l.f. This is their jumbo eyeshadow stick in the color French Lace. And I'm going to pop this just on the eyelid. And now I'm going to take my W7 in the Buff Lightly Toasted eyeshadow palette. And I'm going to pop this nice taupe color over here on my eyelid. So I'm just popping this taupe color on top of the base. So now I'm going to use this lightest color. And this is going to be my brow bone highlight. And I'm applying my highlight with my e.l.f. eyeshadow C brush. So now I'm taking this matte brown color and I'm using my MAC 224 blending brush and I'm blending it into the crease. And I am blending this out a lot, so I'm really diffusing the color. You guys can already see the difference just by using a bit of a crease color. And as you can see, you can totally build up the color. This is the first layer. It will look kind of like this, and then if you add on, you can build it up. So now I'm going to take this other matte brown color and I'm focusing this deeper in the crease. So this goes like right between the two colors, the one on the eyelid and the one blended out in the crease. And I'm also using a smaller brush. This one is from Morphe. And then we do the same over here, right on the line where the lid color meets the crease color. That's why I'm going to apply this matte brown. And I'm doing a smoky eye today, so blending is key and you can almost not blend too much. You can blend too much, but it's more likely that you're going to blend too little. So just blend and blend and blend until your arms or your eyes get tired. And I'm also going back in with my MAC brush and blending. I have nothing on this brush. So finally I'm going to use this sparkly black color and I'm focusing this in the outer corner. And as you guys can see, this was only a tiny amount I picked up and it's super pigmented. This color does not play around. So I go back in with my big fluffy brush and I blend. So now I'm going to take my MAC Smolder Eye Kohl and apply this to my upper waterlines and my lower waterlines. So I look down into a mirror when I apply my eyeliner on my upper waterline, and the same over here. And when I apply it to my bottom waterline, I look up into a mirror. So now I'm going ahead and applying the taupe eyeshadow we used on the eyelid, and I'm applying this along my lower lash line right in the center. And out here in the outer corner, I'm using the two matte brown eyeshadows. And around my inner corner, I'm going to apply the Jumbo Eyeshadow Stick by e.l.f. So I'm just applying that right around the tear duct. So to line my eyes, I'm going to use the Maybelline Master Ink Matte Eyeliner. So as always, I'm going to do a little cat eye.
You're a really cool girl, I got a really good taste. Ha! She feeling my way. She whisper to her friends, say she's feeling my face. Ha! She's feeling my place. She want to be with me when she's feeling high rate. Bakachuku Makagini, oh so for me pay a Gigi. She looking very hot in my yellow Lamborghini. You get the way. Hey, baby carry the go for a bad man. See the way she the roll for a bad man.
So I did a simple and quite thin cat eye today. So for my mascara, I'm going to use Maybelline Great Lash. So first, I'm going to curl my lashes, and I'm using the Shu Uemura eyelash curler, and then I'm just going to load this mascara on my lashes. So this is the eye look with just mascara, but of course I'm going to apply falsies. So these are the Technique Natural Lashes in the style number A13. So I'm using Revlon Lash Glue and my Tweezerman tweezers to apply my falsies. So I got my false lashes on and I just went over the last bands with my liquid liner. So now we are going to do the lips, and I am going to do a nude lip, but I'm going to switch it up from what I usually do. So first of all, I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Color Icon Willow lip liner, and I'm going to line my lips with this and overline them a little bit. So my lipstick is the Vivid Matte Liquid by Maybelline in the color number 50, Nude Thrill. I actually love these. I have every single color. I think they're great. So I am going to top it off with a little gloss. This is the NYX Butter Gloss in the color Creme Brulee. And that is today's nude lip. So here you guys have the finished look using W7's In the Buff Lightly Toasted eyeshadow palette. So if you like this look, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in my next video. So take care and bye bye!